Hello there. I wanted to give you a quick overview of the Science Project Google Slides template that I've crafted to help us through this year, Science Fair. So let's start with the title page. So you're going to replace the title with your specific title for your project. Simple enough. Instead of name, you're going to put your number that your teacher assigned to you because this needs to be anonymous. You're going to replace school name with, of course, your school name. And then you're going to put your grade level. Next, for your purpose statement, I've put both ways you can write your purpose statement, and this is all in the packet that we've given you. So you can have what is the effect of this on that, or you can have I wonder what would happen if. Remember, this is what your teacher has approved. So you're going to click in here, highlight, and type in the purpose statement your teacher has approved for you. Next, let's talk about hypothesis. So I put a model in here, framework, to better help us along the way. So if I, and then you're going to type in your independent variable. What's the one thing you're changing in your that you're testing? Then what is your dependent variable? What are you measuring because of the change you've made? And you think what's going to happen because of your background research. This is super important so that you have an idea of what you're testing and what you think is going to happen to help better word your hypothesis. Variables. Again, I've made you a table here to fill in the information. I went ahead and put bulleted points for you. So you're going to put your independent variable. What is the one thing that you changed in your experiment? What is your dependent variable because of the one thing you changed? What are you measuring? What are you observing? You're going to have lots of constants. So you're going to put down the most important ones, and you type it in and hit enter, and each line will give you a bulleted point. And then control group. What is a trial without a change under normal conditions? What is the control? If you don't have a control, state no control. Let's move on to our materials. Our materials list is an itemized list, so I went ahead and put the bullet points in there for you. Remember to list all materials used. Remember, quantity is very important, and remember to use metric units and be very specific. In the materials we've given you, it has examples of good materials lists and poor materials lists. So you would just highlight and put in there what you use for your project. Procedures. Remember, this is a detailed step-by-step recipe of how to perform your experiment. Remember, in your procedures, you must tell when to change your one independent variable and how to measure it. And remember to use metric units. Remember also to state how many times to repeat the experiment, and the minimal is 3 trials. So I went ahead and put the numbers on here for you. So you would just replace number 1 with gather your materials. Number 2, make a table, a data table. And if you ever do something that you didn't mean to do, you can always go back and hit undo. It saves you every time. Pictures. So you're going to want to take pictures of your project. Remember to keep in mind not to have any faces or identifying marks. It needs to be anonymous for judging. You can send your pictures to the students.net account, and they can get it in their email, and they can download it into Google Drive. And then when it's time to insert your pictures, you can go to Insert Image, and you can go through Google Drive to do that. If you need to add more than one slide, you can always come over here, do a 2-finger click, and duplicate this slide if you have more pictures than can fit on this particular slide. So again, to insert, you would go to Insert Image, and the students can send it to their email and put it in the drive through email, and that's where you would get it from. Is insert and then go to Google Drive and pull it in from there. Data table. Alright, so this is a title. So all data tables have a title. Then I've created this table for us to better help us. So we have 3 trials and an average. Remember, to find average, you add, count, divide. You're going to replace independent variable with what you're testing. So if I was testing the melting rate of something in different kinds of liquids, so let's say I would replace this with Sprite, and I would replace this with vinegar, and let's say my control is water. and let's say I'm using time as my measuring tool, so I'm going to say minutes. So I would replace unit with minutes. Okay, so then I'm going to do my trials. So I'm going to replace data with my actual numbers. How many minutes did it take whatever I'm dissolving to dissolve in Sprite? I would place there. And then my next trial, and then I'm going to find the average. So I'm going to add these three up, and there's 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to divide whatever my total is by 3, and that's my average. You can add columns to, I put notes down here. You can add columns and rows if you need to two-finger click the table, like so. You can insert row above, below, column to the left, column to the right. If you insert it and it's doesn't work for you, you can always delete what you've done. Okay? So this is how you change the title. Then you click in the table to get to the table. And here's some notes there for you. Alright, so we have a graph. So if you click on this, it'll take you to create a graph. It'll land you on this page. Most of you are going to do a bar graph, so you would click bar graph. You're going to do vertical lines unless you're measuring something over time. Change over time, then that's going to be a line graph, and your teacher can help you with that. So with your graph, I went ahead and put in some data. I put my graph title as melting away. My x-axis is what you changed, your independent variable. So I put liquid. Your y-axis is what you measured, and I'm calling it dissolve time in minutes. So I put here, I needed 3 items because I use Sprite, vinegar, and water as my control. If you have more, you can do a drop down and put however many you need. I put 4 groups because I have trial 1, trial 2, trial 3, and average. So I put my numbers in there, and for my decimals, I usually just round to the 10th place, but that is up to your teacher or your school or however y'all want to work that out. So that's how you put in the information. Labels, this default is yes, and I'm going to show you what that looks like. You can always come back and click no. So your preview. So it's got your title there. It's got my liquids, and your x-axis is labeled. Y-axis is labeled. It gives you the numbers. It has labels for you, trial 1, trial 2, trial 3, and average. And then this is the label that you can turn off. So if your numbers are large, you probably don't want them to show. So you can go back to here, click no, go to preview, and they will remove the numbers. And it's up to you if your numbers fit. Wonderful. If you don't want them to show, you don't have to. So that is how we do a quick graph. The students can send it to themselves. They can download it right here. The main thing is students need to get it into their drive. So once you get it into your drive, you can come back here and you won't need that anymore, and you can insert an image because you can download it as a PDF or as a JPEG or whatever, and you can insert that image from your drive here and resize it so that it fits on your screen. Alright, then your conclusion. So I've kind of scaffolded again and put in there kind of paragraph 1. You need to summarize in a few sentences that either supports or contradicts your original hypothesis. Remember, it's okay if it didn't work, but simply give your results and use key facts from your background to support your conclusion. Then write another paragraph on summarize your procedures, stating both successes and failures. Remember to put in there the relationship between your independent and dependent variable. And then last but not least, suggest any changes to improve your experiment. How could what you do be relevant to the real world? Let's say I need more than one slide. I showed you this before, but you can come over here and two-finger click and click duplicate slide. So let's say my first paragraph is super long and it takes up the whole thing. So I want to go back here because it took up the whole thing. You can highlight this and delete it. And then go to this slide. And this is all on number 10 slide, so I want to erase that. And so that it continues. Whatever works for you. Remember, if you do something and you don't like it, you can always hit undo. Okay? So that is a quick overview of the Google Slides template that I created for you. I hope that makes sense for you. The most important thing is to get the information in there and that it's accurate. Now I'll give you a quick overview on how to dress it up for you. You can always go to theme, change your color background, you can change your font, you can double click here, there's your font, but you have to be highlighted on some words. You can change the size, all of that to add flair, your personality. Feel free to do that. Also, don't forget you have your research tool here. So if you need to look up anything, you can go to a Google search and you can find anything you need there. So with Google, you have everything: images, videos, scholar, quotes, dictionary, and tables. Whatever you need, you can find right there at your fingertips, so you don't have to open a new tab. To print it out, you can do it several ways. Let's go to File, Print, Settings, and Preview. So this is how we're going to share it or show it. You can print one slide on each page, which is probably what I'm going to do. You could do two. If you did two, I would recommend portrait. It's completely up to you and what your school decides to do. I'm leaning towards one slide per page, but this is where you get to that. You can, if it's got a whole bunch of color and you don't really want to print the color, you can hide background. That is completely up to you. I think that covers everything. Hopefully that answers all your questions. Have fun and good luck.